What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full breakdown and predictions for Dana White's Contender Series. We have Season 6, Week 1.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back for some Contender Series. Really looking forward to doing the Contender Series this year. Was able to, put in the work, get this week done. It is extra work. It's an extra 5 fights or so, but definitely willing to put in the work for you guys. I know a lot of people do like the Contender Series, including me. And hoping to have a good year in terms of predictions, in terms of the bets as well. Before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It would be much appreciated. Going to be posting Contender Series content each and every Monday. The new schedule is going to kind of look like Monday, Contender Series, Tuesday, going to get the full card breakdown out for UFC. Lots going on, so make sure you are subscribed so not miss out on it. I'm going to be covering these fights from a prediction standpoint, going to be breaking down all the stats, all the tape study as well, and then on the MMA Engine at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, me and Lou Betcha are going to be going live for a betting breakdown in terms of the Contender Series. Going to be talking about the Contender Series from a betting standpoint, talking about the odds, talking about some props as well, but this is going to be more so a breakdown. I'll touch on some bets here and there, but just want to break down these fights as best as possible. So I say we get into it. Unfortunately, we did lose a fight. We lost the Boschrat fight. His opponent did come in and missed weight by like 12 pounds, something like that. So that fight is off. So we are left with 4 fights, but definitely looking forward to talking about these 4 fights. And I say we get into it, and we will start with the first fight of the night. And I'm going to be pulling up my notes here. I actually have to do notes for the Contender Series here. New fighters, new stuff to look at. So we have Alessandro Costa going against Andres Luna Martinetti. We will start with Alejandro Costa here. He does train with Diego Lopez, who is also on the Contender Series. He also trains at the same gym as Alexa Grasso, I believe. But in terms of the age of Costa, I don't know. I don't know. Can't even guess it as well. So no age, and that's going to be the case with a lot of these fights. We don't know the age of some of them. We don't know the reach in a lot of them. But he is 5'3", and the reach is not available as well. And he is 10-2, and he is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He doesn't have any notable wins or losses. He has a knockout rate of 20% and a submission rate of 60% as well, and an overall 80% finish rate, which is really good for the flyweight division. Some notes here I have on him. He seems very physically strong. Good balance, very good takedown defense as well. Tons of power. He is down to bang, power in his hands and kicks, and also has a ton of flying knees. You see him go out there and just spam flying knees at times. And this guy's extremely exciting, extremely fun to watch. Really do like what I see from Costa here. He is willing to eat one to give one, and he does swarm you if he hurts you. Always looking for the finish, and that's something else I do like about him. He can and will go for takedowns. I've seen him go for takedowns to kind of seal off a round, showing good fight IQ there, but when he gets on top, he's extremely dangerous. Like I said, he's finished 60% of his wins by submission. Good cardio. He's been 5 rounds as well. So, not only is he very dangerous on the feet, throwing with power, very good submission game as well, but he can, go and fight a very hard 3 rounds in this case. I like that. But he's just very dangerous, very exciting to watch. So really like what I see right off the bat from Costa here. As far as Andres Luna Martinetti, Martinetti does train at Entron Gym, which was the Brandon Moreno's old gym. I'm not sure if he's still training there, Brandon Moreno. I think he was doing some work with James Krause and Glory MMA and Fitness, but that was Brandon Moreno's old gym there, I believe. He's 26 years old, 5'7", not sure on the reach there, but he is 12-0, undefeated, and 5-0 obviously in his last 5 fights, and he as well has no notable wins or losses. He has a 17% knockout rate, a 50% submission rate, and an overall 67% finish rate. So both guys pretty good finishers for the division of flyweight here. So notes I have on him here, he seems pretty big for the division, so 5'7", he is going to have a decent size height advantage. I kind of noticed that. The guy's huge, and he will be the bigger fighter in this fight against Costa, which you gotta like that. He's calm and confident on the feet. He is very relaxed as well, but his hands are down low, his chin is up, and I'm really not a fan of his striking defense. He is definitely there to be hit and leaves a ton of openings. On the feet, he does dig to the body and mix it up very well, and he has good wrestling when he does go to it, and he's also a very physically strong fighter as well. When he does get on top, he has good top control and ground and pound as well. Vicious ground and pound, good submission game as well. But he does put himself into a lot of bad spots. He is sloppy at times as well, but he does put himself in those bad spots, and he is able to fight out of them, which is good, but still don't like seeing him putting himself in those bad spots. And he does seem to slow down a little bit, but does seem to be able to still fight, good in that third round. So honestly, I'm very impressed with Costa here. I really like what I see. I think he's a very fun and exciting fighter. Martinetti, yes, he's undefeated, but I really question the level of competition. I like the striking of Costa. I think he can definitely hurt Martinetti on the feet. And if this fight does hit the mat, I like the ground game of Costa. So let us take a look at these odds here. And we have Costa, who opened up, believe it or not, a plus 170 underdog. And this is why I'm going to start getting ahead with the tape study and all this, because I want plus 170. It's nuts. He's now minus 270, so the line completely flipped and money is pouring in on Costa, and rightfully so. Martinetti opened up minus 200. He's minus 230. So big favorite here in Costa. He is the biggest favorite on the card, and I agree with it. I think Costa has him covered everywhere. I think Costa can really hurt him on the feet, and I think he's the better grappler. So in terms of a prediction, I will say Costa does get it done. I feel like he can get it done in many ways. I feel like he can get it done by decision, submission, knockout. I'm going to say he knocks out Martinetti, though. I don't like the striking defense of Martinetti. I love the power of Costa. I think Costa puts him out here, and I'll say in the very first round. Give me Alessandro Costa to win. Give me Alessandro Costa to win by first round knockout. All right. Yeah, that fight is going to be fun and exciting. I cannot wait for that one. All right, we have the next fight here. We have Dennis Bazooka, something like that, going against Kaleo Romero. Some of these names are kind of tough to pronounce. But yeah, Dennis, he does train in New York with, guys like Aljamain Sterling, Ali Quinta, guys like that. He is 24 years old, 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. He is 7-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Some notable losses, or his notable loss against Melsik Bagdasaryan on the Contender Series in 2020. He was only 22 years old at the time, which is something to mention. He's a 43% knockout rate, no submissions, so an overall 43% finish rate for Dennis. Some notes I have on him here. So the big problem with this fight for me is there's no recent tape available on Bazooka. Bazooka, the last fight I saw, he was like 2 years ago, and I think that was the Melsik fight, but I was able to watch fights from 4 years ago, and he was like 20 years old, and you really can't take away a lot of that. I was not able to watch his 3 recent fights after the Contender Series, which I would have liked to see. So that's not good there. But in the Melsik fight, he did show off a very good chin. He showed off some toughness. I mean, Melsik looked phenomenal in that fight against Bazooka, and Bazooka was able to take every single shot and maybe got hurt once, but was able to recover quickly. Just showed great toughness and a great chin there. I like that. I've seen him taken down, and I've seen him controlled for an entire fight. But again, we're looking at fights from 4 years ago. He's training at a very good gym. You got to expect improvements, especially from a guy that, some of these fights that you see that, where he is getting taken down and controlled. He's 20 years old at the time, 19 years old at the time. So I do expect him to see it. I do expect him to have a ton of improvements, but I have not seen those improvements yet, and that's kind of what I'm struggling with here in this fight. Romero, though, he is 26 years old. He's 5'10" with a 68.5-inch reach. He is 6-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for him. Knockout rate of 33%, submission rate of 50%, and an overall 83% finish rate. So he is the better finisher in this fight. So he is a wrestler. He will go for takedowns early and often. He doesn't seem to have the best wrestling, but is absolutely relentless with his takedown attempts. Wild and looping shots on the feet, very low volume as well, and he is submission over position, sloppy, and makes a lot of mistakes in the mat, and he has fought a super low level of competition as well. In this fight against Bazooka, he will be at a massive striking disadvantage in my opinion. He just leaves a ton of openings, not a ton to offer on the feet, and that's why you do see him going for takedowns early and often. I think he absolutely needs takedowns here to win the fight. If he does not get these takedowns, I do think he loses pretty clearly here. So, maybe Romero can get down Bazooka here or there. Could he do it consistently for 3 rounds? I'm not so sure. Bazooka, I do think he has the higher ceiling between these two. Bazooka is going to be the much better striker, and it's not even close. I mean, Bazooka went in there, and although he did lose against Melsik Bagdasaryan, who's a phenomenal striker, he did actually win the second round on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards. So Bazooka is going to be the better striker. All he has to do is come in here, stuff the takedowns, keep it on the feet. Romero, if he does get a takedown, he makes a ton of mistakes. I feel like Bazooka can capitalize, stand back up, and just piece apart this guy for 3 rounds here. Give me Bazooka by decision. Like I said earlier, he's not much of a finisher. I think Romero just kind of one-dimensional with the takedowns, doesn't offer a ton on the feet, and Bazooka should have that big advantage there. So give me Bazooka to win by decision. Oh boy, some of these fights, what a mess this is, but what a fun fight this could potentially be. We have Anton Turkouch, I think that's how it's pronounced, but we're gonna call him the Pleasure Man. This guy's the Pleasure Man. What a nickname! I don't think I've seen a better nickname than the Pleasure Man. I love it. But Turkouch, he is 26 years old, 6'4", not sure in the reach there. He's 7-0 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. We have notable losses. He lost a grappling match against Alexander Gustafsson back in 2019. He does have a knockout rate of 71%, a submission rate of 29%, and an overall finish rate of 100%, so a 100% finish rate for the Pleasure Man. Some notes I have here, he was actually 11-3 as an amateur, so 14 fights as an amateur, something you do like to see. The gas tank is definitely suspect to say the least. It looked like he was slowing down in a fight that I watched in the very first round, so what happens if he does get into that second and third round could definitely be a concern there. He starts very, very fast. He has a ton of power. In one of the fights I saw, he got like a finish with it in the first 10 seconds. It was nuts. I have seen him taken down. I have seen him stuck on his back. That was a while ago though. But the cardio and the ground game off his back is a serious concern and a serious question mark. But he is very dangerous if he is able to land on top. So the Pleasure Man, he's a finisher. He's fun and exciting for as long as it lasts. He's very powerful. He's very dangerous. But there are some serious question marks and red flags in terms of the cardio. What happens if this fight does get extended? And in terms of the ground game, what happens if he is put on his back? Dos Santos here, he's 30 years old. He is 6'4" as well. Both these guys are huge. Not sure in the reach there. He is 14-4 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Notable wins. He won a grappling match against one Carlos Felipe. And then notable losses, he lost a grappling match against one Gilton Almeida. He has a 43% knockout rate, 0% submission rate, so yes, he does have some grappling chops, 0 submissions thus far in MMA. Overall finish rate is 43%. So I have seen him taken down. I have seen him controlled against the cage. His cardio looks good, which could be key in this fight, and he has won decisions, which also could be key in this fight. He seems to have okay grappling, like I said, low volume on the feet with not a ton of power, just slow and sloppy striking, and leaves a lot of openings to be hit, which could be a problem in this matchup. And honestly, I'm just pretty unimpressed overall, and I didn't see a ton of offensive wrestling or just ability to get it down to the mat, which I would have liked to see if he's going to go out here and beat the Pleasure Man. So let us take a look at the odds here. And by the way, we do have Bazooka, didn't mention it, but he opened up -180, currently -205, and Romero opened up +155, is currently +175. So decent size favor for Bazooka. I don't mind it. I think he is the better fighter. But in terms of this fight, the Pleasure Man opened up -300. He's currently -207. And Dos Santos opened up +240, and he's currently +177. And people are taking a shot on the dog at those big odds. And I get why. If you're taking a shot on Dos Santos here, you are banking on him surviving that first round. You are trying to exploit the question marks, the red flags of the Pleasure Man. If this fight does get extended, if this fight does go to the second round, Dos Santos will probably win the fight. Although I'm not impressed with Dos Santos at all. He has cardio, and that could very well be enough to win the fight if he does get this extended. So it's a tough fight to call. So I honestly don't hate people taking a shot at those big dog odds, but I like the Pleasure Man here. I can't pick against him. I think he goes in here and finishes Dos Santos in the very first round. I can't count on Dos Santos to take this fight down to the mat early. I think the Pleasure Man's going to go in there. He's going to get that knockout in the very first round. Dos Santos leaves a lot of openings on the feet as well. I'm going to say first round knockout for Turkouch here. So if this does get extended, it's going to probably look like a terrible pick, but I'm going to say the first round knockout does come. He's super powerful and just not impressed with Dos Santos in terms of the striking. So Turkouch, and give me him by first round KO. And then finally, we have the main event here, and what a main event it's going to be. We have Joseph Pyfer going against Ozzy Diaz, and let us take a look at the odds real quick before I forget. We have Joseph Pyfer opening up, my goodness, plus 250. He's currently minus 106. Ozzy Diaz opening up minus 300. He's currently minus 114. So, wow, those odds are crazy. But let's talk about this matchup a little bit. We have Joseph Pyfer. We'll start with him first. He's 25 years old. He is 6'1" with a 75-inch reach, 8-2, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Notable losses: Dustin Stoltz was had an arm injury there that was also on the Contender Series. This is going to be a second time around. And then Jonathan Patty, he did lose by submission as well. No notable wins there for Joseph Pyfer though. Knockout rate of 62.5%, a submission rate of 25%, overall finish rate, a very respectable 87.5%, very dangerous fighter overall. Some notes I have on Pyfer here: he is really aggressive, I like it, with lots of forward pressure as well. He's always walking forward, and I like that. He has good hard leg kicks, has lots of power in his hands, lots of power in his kicks, and relies on his right hand, and is very powerful as well. He has some good wrestling in his back pocket and also some good cardio, which I think both the wrestling and the cardio could potentially come into play in this matchup. Ozzy Diaz, he's 31 years old. He is 6'4", pretty huge guy, 78.5-inch reach, so he's going to have a big height advantage, a big reach advantage as well. He has 7-1, and he has 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Some notable wins: he has a win over Bruno Assis, who did beat Jailton Almeida for what it's worth. Notable losses: he did lose to Dominic Reyes as an amateur, but he has a 71% finish rate by KO, a 29% submission rate, and then an overall finish rate of 100%. So he is a 100% finisher in Diaz, and if you watch this guy, you can definitely see why. Solid movement on the feet. He is down to brawl and has a lot of power. He definitely can be wild at times on exchanges on the feet and leaves a lot of openings to be hit. Good takedown defense from what I've seen. He has been knocked out in his only loss professionally, and he's never been over 1.5 rounds, but professionally as well. In the ground game, from what I've seen, or from what I haven't seen, it's pretty untested. So this is a fight that it's lined a pick'em for a reason. I think the opener is just madness. You have Joseph Pyfer, who I do think is probably the overall, better, well-rounded fighter. He has, good striking. He has good wrestling if he does want to use it here, and I think he should. He has been over that 1.5 round mark. That I do like that. He does seem to have good cardio. I do like that. Whereas Ozzy Diaz, this guy just seems like a madman with a ton of power, a ton of finishing ability, a very exciting fighter. So I think if Ozzy Diaz does win, it's going to be inside the distance. We have seen Pyfer finished in both his losses, that injury and that submission loss. So that's very much on the table. But, if Pyfer is able to come out here, pressure, use those leg kicks, get this fight down to the mat especially, I think Pyfer's grappling is very solid. And then I think if this fight does go over that 1.5 rounds, it definitely does favor Pyfer. But, man, Ozzy Diaz is going to be very dangerous, and he's going to be very dangerous early on. So in terms of a pick here, I think I'm going to go with Pyfer ever so slightly because I feel like I can trust him more. I feel like he has more ways to win. I do like the forward pressure, the striking. I like the wrestling, the grappling, the cardio. I just like more about Pyfer's game overall. But don't get me wrong, Ozzy Diaz is no joke on the feet. This guy hits like a truck, and he very well could knock out Joseph Pyfer. And if he does, it's probably in the first round. So I will go with Pyfer. I'm going to take Pyfer to win by second round. I'll say late second round knockout. I say he does eventually get Ozzy Diaz out of there in that second round. So, yeah, guys, that is about it. Thank you so much for watching the first Contender Series video. Like I said, I'll be going live on the MMA Engine YouTube channel at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on Mondays for, the betting aspect of things. We're going to be talking about all the props, all the odds, seeing if we can make some money on this card. I don't know if I'll have much action on this card. I'm going to start getting ahead to week 2. Just sucks missing these lines so much. I kind of got in a little bit late on the research there. So, but wanted to get this out to you guys. Thank you for watching. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe. All the good stuff. And best of luck for Dana White's Contender Series. We have week 1. Should be a very fun week, although we did lose the Bosharat fight. But still, 4 good fights. Should be a fun time. Best of luck, guys. Talk to you soon.